So my name is Farid. I'm 19, and I'm a student at Carleton University. In regards to question one, like, or the existence of the mind. Obviously, the mind exists, but like the brain itself, I guess, is what makes it work.
Okay.
But the mind is like internal.
Right.
So it's kind of like on a computer.
Okay.
The brain is the hardware.
Right.
And the mind is the software.
Okay.
So without your brain, your mind won't work.
Right. So the brain, I guess people usually think of it as like a physical organ.
Yeah.
What do you think of as the mind though? Like where do you think it is? Where do you think it
like your mind can be like your thoughts, your behavior too, like how you behave.
Right.
It's all how your mind works. And that's
yeah, perfect. So the second one pretty much stems from the third one as well, like what controls behavior. Is it both of them, a combination of them?
What controls your behavior? Yeah, it would be your mind.
Okay.
And also actually how you're brought up, right?
I'm sorry?
It's also how you're brought up.
Right.
Because if you're brought up to behave like properly,
right.
You behave properly, but if you're brought up as somebody who doesn't care about rules, I guess,
right.
You just kind of break them.
Right.
And the third one, consciousness.
Yeah, so we're kind of escaping the whole thing here and going to consciousness, that thing that everyone has trouble defining. But take your stab at defining it. What do you think it is? Where does it end?
Consciousness. Mainly like your actual being is like being awake,
right.
And kind of knowing what's going on. You could be alive and not be conscious, by not making your own decisions and making like knowing what you're doing.
Right.
Whereas conscious, like you make your own decisions, you have your own free will, I guess.
Okay. Interesting. Free will.
Yeah, it's
like
pretty much it.
So where do you think consciousness ends? Do you think it only exists when we exist? When our body exists? What happens when our body dies? Do you think consciousness stays? Does it go? Does it end? Does it exist in time? Like stretch yourself out here as much as you can.
I don't think it ends. I think it just keeps going.
Okay.
Because your life doesn't really end after you die. It's just kind of the spirit.
Okay. So consciousness and spirit are kind of intertwined.
Yeah, it kind of intertwined. It's just like who you are in the end.
Right.
So once your body dies, you obviously, we don't know what happens, right? So if you do go to heaven, that's where your consciousness is.
Right.
If not, you just be roaming on the earth, right?
Perfect.
So nobody really
knows something.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Perfect. So the third one is pretty much something completely different. You can relate to it because you're a Carleton student. You've also been in the education system.
Yeah.
Have you always been in Canada?
Yeah, I was born and raised.
All right. So just reflect on that and think about the system.
I don't know. I think the Canadian system is very good.
Okay.
Kind of prepares you properly for the real world.
Right.
Especially as you grow older and get into high school.
Right.
Teachers stop kind of baby you and force you to do things. Kind of like, oh, if you want to do it, go ahead. If not, it's your loss.
So responsibility increases.
Yeah, responsibility increases as you go on. But I find that jump between where high school ends and university starts is a huge jump.
Agreed.
Whereas, because I'm first year right now,
right.
Whereas high school was just kind of like, oh yeah, like you can Henderson whenever,
right.
And then university starts like, oh yeah, like you have 3 assignments to do the whole year, and that's where that's where your mark reflects on.
Right.
So I guess they could prepare you a little more.
Right.
But then again, that's the real world that we were preparing for our whole lives.
Right.
Yeah.
So fair enough. So yeah, basically the jump you said is something that sort of the education system should be working on.
Yeah.
To help students adjust.
Yeah, like like even if like I don't know in like other countries, like I'm from Lebanon,
right.
And I have a cousin that's the same age as me, and what he was learning is in like grade 12, I guess, is far ahead. So he kind of that jump is kind of gap in that 1 year.
Right.
Whereas here it's kind of grade 12, just like all the other years in high school, and you just kind of
jump into first university.
Yeah.
No, I totally feel that. I remember that too from my first year and stuff like that.
And like also the fact that like you kind of just pass. You know what I mean? There's not really like a test or anything that proves how well you are. Like most kids just go through high school 50.
Right.
There's no really way of regulating who passes each stage. It's kind of everyone goes with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So based on what you've reflected upon, do you think that any changes would be if changes could be implemented, what changes would you implement to help people sort of make that transition make that transition? Because that was one of the main issues that you were touching upon, right?
Just mainly, that grade 12 jump.
Right.
Grade 12 kind of prepare more towards like having like 2 or 3 assignments for the whole semester to kind of give you your grade rather than like, oh, you can do this to boost up your mark. And you can do this homework. You know what I mean? Like,
so it's too casual for the jump to university.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also just like the grading system's fine, but also have like sort of the standardized test.
Okay.
Just like in the States, SAT, I guess.
Right.
Something like that over here would kind of help a lot.
Right.
And help people not waste their money. That people just go to university because they think they have good marks in high school.
Right.
And then get to high school and be like, oh, I'm dropping out.
Right.
Like
Wasted 2 years.
Yeah.
$20,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Is there anything else that you wanted to say in reflection to what we talked about?
That's pretty good.
Yeah, thank you so much for your
All right,
time,
no
man.
problem.
I appreciate it. Awesome. I'm just gonna check the.